Hi everyone, this is Erika Szabo, welcome back. So today, I just really wanted to talk about the PlayStation Vita, because this is an awesome system and it deserves all the credit in the world. This is second to this system here, the Game Boy Advance SP, at least in my eyes, but I still really love this one. I talk about the Vita quite a bit, and so I wanted to share some of my collection with you, some games that I would like in my collection, and why I think it's just such a great one to have. This is just a system that Sony has abandoned, and it makes me really sad, but at the same time that also brings about a surge of really strange games. And this is becoming like one of those really niche portable systems where we're getting a lot of really niche games, we're getting a lot of stuff by smaller developers, and I really like that. Like, the reason why I started doing journalism in the first place was because I specifically wanted to pinpoint subculture media, because I wanted to cover more niche media, and I wanted to promote that media because I really like promoting lesser known things, and the system's really good for that. Sure, there are also some really good heavy hitters, you know, until Sony stopped really supporting the system. But yeah, it's really great. It's really inviting. It's gonna achieve cult status. I know it's going to. Over the years, people will realize just how much worth the system has. And it's a really great one, and it's pretty too. So my current collection of Vita games, it's changed a lot, and I go to a lot of places to hunt for some of these games. I gotta say, I like to shop for games where I work at, A&C Games here in downtown Toronto, but I love hitting up other places all around the city just so I can find those Vita games, because they're just becoming harder and harder to find. I actually really love to go to EB Games in particular, so I can find the really rare stuff that they misprice, and it's just awesome. It's like the most fun hunt ever. I actually just went on a hunt with my coworker and friend Lewis, because he's also someone who very much appreciates the system. So yeah, that's by far one of the most fun aspects of this, is the pursuit. So let's start things off with Persona 4 Golden. Now, I'm sure y'all know all about Persona 4, but this is like the definitive version of the game. And you get Marie, even though Marie isn't really like the very substantial part of any of this, she writes some good poetry. And if you want the definitive version of the game, and if you want to play it portably and not just on your PS2, this is a really great way of being able to do so. Aside from that, I do have some Vanillaware games here too, because I really like Vanillaware a lot, like a lot. And I always appreciate what they do, and I always very fond memories of this one here, Odin Sphere. They remade it on the Vita and on the PS4 and PS3 as Odin Sphere Lifthraiser, and man, that frame rate is like a million times better. I feel like I need to play it on hard mode now, you know, because like now that it's not so slow, it's not as difficult, but I really love this one. I especially love this one for its visual style, its flair, the atmosphere. But then, you know, we also have other really great ones too, like Muramasa Rebirth, which came out on the Wii originally. This isn't mine, this is my boyfriend Ian's. He's letting me borrow it though, so I can play it some more. And then I also have Dragon's Crown, which is awesome because it reminds me of D&D, and it reminds me of the D&D beat-em-up RPG style games that came out on arcade cabinets. Pretty rare, really one of the easiest ways to be able to play the D&D beat-em-up games was on like as a download. I remember on XBLA I ended up downloading one or two of them. I had a blast, and this just reminds me of that, and I love how bizarre the visuals are. Of course, Dragon's Crown got a lot of flack some years ago, turned a lot of heads, caused a lot of controversy, but I think it's all about style, and I really like that. I can't wait for 13 Sentinels to come out. I just want like a modern day mech sci-fi depiction by them. I think that would be so killer. Next up here are some games that my friend Womp Devil gave to me, and I really appreciate it because I'm actually really interested in playing these, and those are Soul Sacrifice and Ragnarok Odyssey. I am a sucker for Monster Hunter style action RPGs, and this seems to offer exactly what I'm looking for, so I'm really interested in delving into these ones too. Now, aside from that, I do have a few more here. Of course, we cannot forget Virtue's Last Reward, Part 2 in the Zero Escape series. If you haven't checked out my review of another great one, continuation to the Zero Escape series, Zero Time Dilemma. I did recently post a review of that. I highly recommend you check it out. There are no spoilers. I will maybe release a spoiler video if people want to talk about theories with me. I would love to do that. But until then, you can definitely check this out. And speaking of that similar sort of feel, I also recently picked up Lost Dimensions. Found this one, or Lost Dimension rather. I found this one for a really good price. Seems very interesting. I like moral ambiguities. That's just my thing. I like very existential experiences in my games. So I'm really stoked for that one. And then aside from that, I do have, I have like a couple more here. I have The Wolf Among Us by Telltale Games. This one I was super ecstatic for because I used to be a long-time reader of the Fables graphic novel series. I really loved it a lot. I think I read up to, I don't even know, like I read this thing for years. But it was really nice to be able to have a Telltale experience to go along with this, and I hear this is one of Telltale's heaviest hitters. I really love Telltale. I love the way that they've expanded upon the idea of point-and-click adventure games, because I grew up playing point-and-click adventure games, you know, whether we're talking Myst, or we're talking Riven, or Siberia 2, The Longest Journey, all those, Dreamfall, all the feels. And they offer more, Telltale just offers more of a dynamic approach to it, and it creates an even better sense of immersion and really makes you feel like you're really delving into this movie-like story. It's interactive fiction after all. Now, the last game I wanted to mention on here that I'm really ecstatic about is Noren 9. I got really lucky finding this one, and it's one of those examples of a really nice visual novel game on the system, not to mention an otome game, which, I mean, I've never seen it be delved into as much as it has for this system aside from PC, right? Now, you might have noticed there are some games that are no longer in my collection here, and I gotta admit, there's definitely a little bit of regret in all of that. Of course, I didn't have Danganronpa or Danganronpa 2. I really love those games. I do find them to be very much games where you play them once and then you don't really have that urge to play them again. That could just be me though. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just weird. But I kind of really want them back in my collection. I can say the same about Freedom Wars as well. I really like the atmosphere, the dystopian future. I'm not sure why I got rid of it. It could have been an emergency situation, but I'm thinking about it now and I'm like, why? Why did I do that? You know, when it comes to like Tales of Hearts R, that's a different story. I was a little unimpressed with that game personally, so I'm not as upset about that one. But then there's other games that I wish I did have, even some import games, or you know, just games that I wish would maybe be translated or localized here too. One of the really great things about this system is that it is region free, so if you have a game that isn't as text heavy, you're kind of in luck. You're kind of really in luck. But then if we're talking about games like Tales of Innocence, which was released on the Vita in Japan, well, that's a little different, you know? I would really love to be able to play that game, but if there were games that I can think of off the top of my head that I know I would love to be able to get, but that are getting harder and harder to find, it would probably be, I mean, first off, I would love to be able to get Hotline Miami. I still think it's so weird that that game was released in Japan physically, but it wasn't released here. That's weird. That's really, really weird. And then, you know, of course, there's games that are, you know, download only as well, and it's like, why didn't they ever release a physical copy? I wish they did. Kind of like Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. I love that game. I absolutely love that game, and I was so excited and so happy that I was able to play it on my old roommate's PS4, but to be able to play it portably, that's just something else. Yet, it seems as though there's a download-only version of it, although I went on eBay and then I saw there was like some physical copy available, which I don't even know if it's real or not, but I would love that. Same with Sound Shapes. That's a really great game produced here in Toronto. that I would really like a physical copy of. I think that would be really cool. Let's see, what else would I be interested in getting? Gundam Breaker 3. Anything God Eater. Gravity Rush. Like, why do I not have that? That's a really important one there. I would love more visual novels like Code Realized. I don't know anything about it, but I just would like more Otome games. I think that'd be great. Steins Gate. That's impossible to find now. I have no idea. You know, I thought about Borderlands, but then I was like, I would probably really enjoy that more, you know, on a home console, not on a portable. But maybe I'm wrong. I have no idea. There are a lot of games, and it's kind of hard to be able to keep track. Grand Kingdom is another one. Also, Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2. Psychopaths Mandatory Happiness. Yeah, the list goes on and on and on and on, as I'm sure you could tell at this point. But there are a lot of really good games, and they're just getting harder to find, so it's kind of a race against time at this point. So I'm curious to know, to any of you Vita lovers out there, what games do you have? What are some of your favorites? What are some suggestions you could make to myself or to anybody else who's watching this video right now? I'm just seriously in love with the system, and I feel like it deserves all the attention in the world. So I want to make this quick little casual video about why I love it, why I think it's worth getting the games for it, what my collection's like, what my collection could potentially become, all this sort of stuff. It's totally worth your time, and I couldn't be more pleased. It was so worth my money. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Do tune in again very soon for lots more Twitch streams and lots more videos and some collab stuff coming up soon too. And I will see y'all later, okay? Alright, peace.